I think we are finally ready. It only took me a little bit longer than I expected it to. Go ahead and pull that up so you guys can see the whole design and decisions page, because you don't need to see the actual... I'm just going to learn to do this. Boop-a-doo. Boop. And a boopity-boop. Put that all over there. Is it going to... Nope. Unclick you. Click you. And a little bit further over. And move this over here to there. And move it all. There you go. And I think it'll still look fine over here, maybe? No, not really. I really need to work on this. This is the worst part of this for me. We'll just leave it over here. Bap. That works. Hello there, everybody. My name is Force. Hi there, everybody. My name is Force Direct, and welcome back to another awesome Dungeons and Decisions live stream. We are going to be doing a bit of review, a bit of creation, just like last week. I was going to say every week, but we've only done this one other time, so this doesn't really make sense. Just like every week in the future. Yeah. We have our GM binder open, and it is ready. It has our week. We need to rename it to week 2. I'm completely ready. We have our GM binder open with all of our little bits of information so that we can post this once we're done. We have the things we're going to be reviewing this week linked into it, and there will be a link to this in my Discord down below once I post it, publish it. There is going to be 5 things that we are reviewing this week. We're going to be looking at the Poison Manual, which is a new system for 5th edition that somebody has created that includes poisons in the games, including a crafting system for it, and a bunch of different poisons, and apparently some subclasses as well. So that's probably going to take a little while. We're also going to be looking at 2 races. The giant-themed race, the Ordling, which was created 6 days ago by Squidian, as well as Quagsire, which seems to be more of a jokey race. It is titled the race that nobody asked for, so, but I'm still going to look at it because Pokemon stuff intrigues me, so I'm interested to see how they do that. Finally, we have, or not finally, but next we have a monster created from a person's level 20 character in one of their campaigns. They created a CR22 legendary monster called Empress Krona Orstet, which we're going to be looking at, since monsters are kind of my thing. A big monster is always fun to look at. And I don't know if we'll get to this one. We might not do this one, but this one is on the docket, the Chieftain class. It is an entire class, so it is a big thing to look at. It's a big thing to play into. If we do get to it, there's a very good chance that we don't get to the subclasses and stuff like that. So, we're going to dive right in because we're starting a little bit late, and I can't run too late because there's a whole bunch of things I want to do, like watch Critical Role and some work that I need to do, and I'm waiting for these people to come pick up a dumpster from all the crap that we cleaned out this week and bring me a new one so I can keep cleaning. Hey! We're going to start with our Poison Guide, the new Poison Manual created by, and I didn't say who this was, but created by user Sona Player on the Unearthed Arcana subreddit, which is the subreddit we use every week and in the future. We're just going to start reading. This document is intended to introduce a combat-focused poison system, which can be included in your world to give some depth and excitement to the creation and use of poisons. Introduce a crafting system, poison reference list, crafting system, create poisons, a poison reference list that is similar to spellcasting. Like spellcasting, characters are expected to access these rules through class features and feats. The poison system introduced here uses the abstract idea of extracting poisonous essences to craft different poisons. So, basic crafting steps. This manual introduces and utilizes a crafting system for collecting raw ingredients, creating objects, in this case, poisons. Basic steps are as follows. First, you find poisonous materials and extract poisonous essences from them during a long rest. Second, you make poisons by combining essences following a recipe during a short or long rest. And last, you apply your poison to weapons or use other ways to expose poison to its target. There are 5 poisonous essences which he gives. Each poisonous essence has a color and grade. We're going to go into some Diablo action RPG stuff here. We have purple, Purple essence can affect the psychology of a creature. Never mind, it's not. That's a little bit different. Am I cutting off of my screen here? That's... There we go. Including erratic behavior or strong emotions. That's our purple essences. The green essences affect bodily functions, disrupting processes which keep a body running. White essences affect the birth rate, the senses of a creature, dampening or amplifying their ability to perceive the world around them. Yellow essences corrupt the bond between the spirit and the body, causing harm to the astral self and impeding magical ability. And black essences exploit malignant external forces on a creature, inducing rot and decay. Ew. That doesn't sound like a pleasant thing to have in your body, rot and decay. Just... maybe I shouldn't have dived into poison. I'm already cringy enough. Poisonous materials are found in the environment or collected from poisonous monsters and creatures. Poison materials come in four rarities, from common to very rare, and produce a specific color or colors, from which you can extract a different number and grade of poisonous essences. So add poisonous materials to the loot dropped by monsters or found in the environment. The player can also forage for poisonous materials in the environment if they do not find any during the adventure. Extraction is an alchemical process which reduces a poisonous material to its essence. It reduces a poisonous material to its essence, which you store in your poisoner's kit. Essence extraction is time-consuming, requiring a long rest to perform. Poison crafter can initially make a basic extraction and can do more complex extractions at higher levels. Each color of poisonous essence requires a specific process to extract. Attempting to extract the wrong color essence for a material is far less productive, so identification of essence color is important. Poison crafters gain the features extract poisonous essence and identify color essence. Both features are detailed in the Poison Crafter's features. So this is a lot of additions to the rules without changing any rules or playing on any rules, it looks like. This is something that's pretty common to see that I've learned in 5th edition, is additional rules, rule sets for crafting and creation of magical items, poisons, etc., etc. This person's put a lot of work into this. I worry that it's going to be too complicated from everything that they've put in here. Because part of the problem, not problem with 5th edition, I guess it is sort of a problem, but part of the idea of 5th edition was to simplify a lot of things, right? They took combat, they slimmed it down to the same thing that they've always had, but they took away a lot of the reactionary stuff that monsters can do and that players can do, so that combat is, you have your turn, you get a single reaction off of your turn, and it is only attack of opportunity unless you get a different thing from something else. But otherwise, we've slimmed this entire thing down. The proficiency system is now no longer really wonky and weird, although it never actually was. But we've made everything merged together really simply. We've made the rules a lot simpler and said, hey, if something doesn't match the rules, come up with it on your own. You're a human being. Basically, 5th edition took a lot of the detailed minutia out and handed it over to the players and said, hey, we've been making this game for some decades worth of time. Here you go. Make your own shit now, because we can't make you happy anymore. No, they simplified it down a lot, and that's part of what makes 5th edition so accessible for a lot of people. It makes it a great system to teach players in as well. 3.5 Pathfinder's still a lot better for more complex builds and stuff, but it requires a certain level of commitment to get into Pathfinder or 3.5, which is why I'm proud of myself. At least I didn't get in 2nd edition or AD&D. From what I remember of those, trying to learn those, that was a nightmare. My dad tried to teach me. Did not go well. I was 12. So, alright, making a poison. A poison crafter can make any poison for which they know the recipe and have the poisonous essences. Recipes are listed in the description of the poison in the list of combat poisons section. Creating a poison consumes poisonous essences. Poison is crafted over short or long rest. Creature that is exposed to a poison suffers effects, making a save as appropriate. Applying poison to a weapon. With the use of an object action, a poison crafter can apply a contact or injury poison to a weapon. Application of a poison consumes. They don't really need to put this in here. That I will say that. It's nice to have it in here for people so that they can reference it. But if if you were handing this out to people who already really knew poisons, you'd already know that using an object allows you to apply poisons and stuff like that. Application of poison consumes the number of doses of the poison based on the weapon's damage, as specified in the weapon dosing table. This is important though, because they don't have anything like this. Weapon dosing, weapon damage 1 or 1d4 is a single dose. 1d6 to 1d10 is 2 doses, so that's basically any non-two-handed weapon that's not light. It's basically light weapons, normal single-handed weapons, and then your two-handed weapons. 3 doses. Poison weapon exposes the first creature it hits to the poison's effects. The poison must be reapplied after the weapon hits a creature. Contact or inhaled poison stored in a small vial can be thrown. Throw a vial up to 20 feet. Make a dexterity roll against a single target. Dexterity attack roll against a single target. If it hits, the attack deals no damage if the creature is exposed to the poison. Poisons introduced in this document are all short-term combat poisons. As such, they aren't as efficient for use in covert applications, such as dosing food or an object with which someone may come into contact. Regardless of the pathway to exposure, once exposed to a poison, the creature needs to make saves or suffer the poison's effect. Poison crafter features. Forge poisonous materials. This is the brunt. This is where we get into some of the more mechanical aspects they've created. You can forge for poisonous materials if you do not find enough during the natural course of adventuring. To forge for poisonous materials, you'll spend at least 1 hour forging, then make an intelligence nature check against a DC set by the dungeon master. Successful roll on the poisonous material forging tables in the appendix. Identify color essence. Extracting an essence is more effective when you properly identify which essence colors can be extracted from a particular material. If you take 10 minutes to study a poisonous material, you can attempt to identify which color essences can be extracted from it. To do so, make an intelligence check using the poisoner's kit against the DC listed in the essence color identification table, identifying the color on a success, and nothing on a failure. You cannot repeat this check for the same poisonous material. I would say you cannot repeat this check within 24 hours for the same poisonous material, because theoretically you're going to keep getting that same poisonous material over and over again, and if you could just never learn, I'm never going to learn what's in here, but hey, it's still cool, right? We're all good. It's like, no, that's not, no, you'd think you'd learn that. Hey, his point is, give this a delay, a decay rate on a check like that. In my opinion, you should give a decay rate on something that's repeatable, or should be repeatable, because otherwise you end up running into the problem that you're never gonna get it. Mechanically, you could never realistically get it. It requires a DM to overrule your homebrew. So if you can reasonably see a reason why somebody might, at some point, get to repeat a roll, just put a decay timer on it. Extract poisonous essence. Extracting essence is a time-consuming process. Over a long rest, you can attempt one extraction on a poisonous material, destroying the material in the process. To so choose a poisonous material, an essence color to attempt to extract, and an extraction process, which you know. Basic, advanced, or expert. At the end of the long rest, you make an intelligence check using the poisoner's kit against the extraction DC in the essence extraction DC table. You extract the indicated number of essences for the chosen extraction level. If you extract the number of essences in the failure column. Color of essence extracted is always the chosen color. If the color chosen doesn't match the material, you still extract the indicated number of essences in the chosen color, but at 1 grade lower. Those essences would have been simple, you extract 1 essence instead. Alright. So, you can extract up to 2d4 superior essences from common, 3d4 from uncommon, 1d4 pure essences, or 2d4 pure essences from rare, very rare. Simple essences you get from failures or from a basic check. Huh. I mean, I guess that seems alright. DC 25 is pretty heavy, but then it is your expert. That is when you're trying to get. I would honestly say, instead of choosing, they say choose a role type. I guess they do that to make sure that there's like some sense of risk in it. But honestly, I would just say you try and extract. If you roll below 15, you fail. If you roll 15 to 20, you get this. If you roll 20 to 25, you get this. If you roll 25 or above, you get this. The idea being that you do that. That's how every other skill in the game works. That's how every other roll in the game works. You roll, you have a minimum required level. This is what you have to do in order to get what it is you're trying to get. Then you have the advanced level. This is what you get what you're looking for, plus a little bit more. And then you have the expert level of you get what you're looking for, exactly what you're looking for. You know it for certain. You get a little bit of extra information that will help you decide on a course of action, as well as possible other avenues to explore. And again, it depends on what it is they're trying to achieve. For instance, a good example would be, hey, my players are trying to find information on the cult of Tiamat. So they go talk to a friend who worships Bahamut and invites the cult. And he explains to them, because they're friends, he's willing to just give them the information they're looking for. They don't need to roll for that. But you have them roll a persuasion check anyways. If they roll above a certain level, he's going to give them additional information. And if they roll really well, he's going to give them additional information, plus something that he might have been keeping hidden because he's like trying to protect them. This is an actual situation that happened in my Sunday campaign. Not this Sunday, last Sunday. So, it's... You don't... Just use the chart as these are what you get for those rolls. Would be my opinion. I'll see what they say after the stream in their thing when I go to give them my thoughts on this, but... At the end of a short or long rest, you can make a number of poisons equal to your combat poison limit. To craft the poison, you can use your stored essences, as well as any new essences you may have extracted during the rest. The rest. The singular rest. All essences used to craft the poison are consumed. Chapter 3, Combat Poisons. So these are your recipes, I take it. How to read poison recipes. Recipe of a poison lists the total number of essences, which can affect the number of doses created. And the color are colors needed, which are always divided equally. This is the grade of essences needed, which can change the save DC or effect of the poison. Creating poison always uses essences of all the same grade. You will never mix a lower grade with a higher grade. If no grade is listed, then any grade can be used, and the poison scales as noted. So, duplicative hallucination agent. 1, 3, or 5 poison essences, purple essences, makes 1, 2, or 3 doses. So if you use 5 purple essences, you get 3 doses. Duration has 3 saves against it. Save DC, if you use simple, you get 10. If you use superior, you get 13. If you use pure, you get 17. Poison causes the opposed creature to see hallucinations of multiple foes. The exposed creature makes a wisdom saving throw at the start of each of its turn. On each failed save, it gains disadvantage on attacks for that turn. After 3 successful saves, the poison ends. Insatiable Fury Toxin. Again, purple essences must be superior or pure. DC of 15 or 18, 1 or 2 doses, so you cannot apply this to a two-handed weapon, unless, of course... Brain, you make 2 vials and pour them all out. pour a whole vial out and then a half of one onto a great weapon, large weapon. We're not going to look at the actual recipes. I'm going to look at the effects, I think, and just blow through these. I like this one, the hallucination agent. I can't really determine the balance of them, because depending on your game, essences, poisonous stuff might be easier or harder to come by, depending on your DM and the game you're running. So, I won't go into balance of any of these, unless something seems ridiculously crazy. But... exposed creatures overcome with mindless rage. It must succeed on a wisdom save, or it makes a single reckless attack against a random creature within 5 feet of it with its primary weapon. Attack has advantage, and attack rolls against the creature have advantage until its next turn. Well, that's what reckless means, so you don't actually have to say this. You don't have to. It's good to put it in there, but just capitalize reckless attack, or say reckless attack as per the barbarian feature. Fear Inducer, a creature exposed to this poison makes a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, the creature becomes frightened of the closest foe for its next 3 rounds. We have literally just green poison. The green poisons, so the first green poison, some creative wording there. Exposed creature makes a Constitution saving throw at the start of each of its turns. It takes 1d6 poison damage on a failed save, and the poison ends on 3 successes. Belladonna. An exposed creature makes a Constitution saving throw. Its body becomes overwhelmed as its metabolic rate doubles. The creature takes 2d10 poison damage at the end of any turn in which it moves and attacks. Attacks more than once or uses a bonus action. It also takes 2d10 damage if it uses a reaction. Ouch. That is brutal. Orator's Curse. An exposed creature makes a Constitution saving throw at the start of each of its turns. On each failed save, it cannot speak intelligibly until its next turn. After 2 successful saves, poison ends. That's brutal because that stops them from using verbal spells, which is pretty much all of them. Unless they're Sork and they have silent magic, in which case, fuck your poison. We have white poisons, which affect senses. Numbing Agent, an exposed creature makes a save. On each failed save, the creature drops 1 rank in initiative instead of taking its turn. It goes after the next creature. After 3 successful saves, the poison ends. Well, that kind of sucks. Also something I want to use on a player. Just, okay, this guy hit you. There's some sort of weird white dripping ichor coming off of it. I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw. Okay. Cool, you rolled below the DC. You are now beneath him in the turn order. What? Yeah, about that. You just fuck with the player's turn order. That seems like a dick thing to do. Especially if you could just put a bunch of goblins up in a raft that's the rafter. They're not even doing any damage. They're doing very little damage. They're just firing blindly at random, even hitting the boss monster and just randomly randomly switching people's churn orders around. It's like, hey, you thought you knew your plan? Well, now you're going after everybody. A creature exposed to this poison, to the blinding powder, must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or become blinded. The creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. This is literally just give advantage to everything attacking it, disadvantage on attacks it makes. That sucks. I don't know that you have to go so far as to make sure that they're only superior or pure essences. But Sensory Overload Toxin. A creature exposed to this poison makes a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, the creature becomes hypersensitive to pain. For the next 3 rounds, each time the creature takes damage, it must make a save or become stunned until the end of its next turn. Ouch! Don't do that. Hold on, let's look at this because I want to make sure that this works the way I think it works. Just off the top of my head. Boop. Incapacitated. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage. Can't move and can speak only falteringly. Creature automatically fails strength and dexterity saving throws. And it is considered incapacitated. An incapacitated creature can't take actions or reactions. Okay. Oh, it's paralyzed I was thinking of. Okay, never mind. Not as bad. Still pretty scary. But not as bad as I was thinking about it. It doesn't automatically crit you. Jesus. That would be terrifying. If I see something in here that says, you're paralyzed for the next 3 turns, I'm going to flip my shit. Creature exposed to this poison makes a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, the creature becomes dizzy. Use any of its movement speed that round. If the creature uses any of its movement speed that round, the creature must succeed on a saving throw or become prone. I just want to create a fucking Death Valley with archers raining down random poisons on players just to see how they react. Alright, well, now I need you to roll me a Constitution saving throw. Okay, you fail. What? You feel really confused and everything's kind of off balance and strange. Alright, well, I'm gonna run. Alright, roll me a dexterity save. Oh, hey, look, you failed. You're prone now. Oh, god damn it. I can see that being just cruel, unusual, and fun for everyone involved, not just me. What was this? Pyrosensitivity? Exposed creature makes a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, it becomes extremely sensitive to heat. Vulnerable to the first instance of fire damage it takes before the end of your next turn. This is fun. The assumption here and the showmanship here is that you can create any sort of sensitivity poison. Pyro sensitivity. I'm trying to think of what it is for cold. Cold sensitivity. Cough and cold medication. Sonic sensitivity, etc., etc. Sonic, thunder, poison, acid, which just makes somebody vulnerable to that type of damage until the end of your next turn. So if you've got a barb, you've got your barbarian who has a flaming war sword, pyro sensitivity. If you've got your wizard who likes to throw ice bolt, cold sensitivity. And then you can help in combat with more than just stabbing things, which is, you know, assuming you're applying these poisons in combat, probably what you're already doing. Yellow poisons corrupt the bond between the spirit and body. So we have gravitational distortion poison. Hey, scroll back up. My mouse. I need a new mouse. The mouse wheel in this, guys, I don't even have to like actually scroll it. It's not going to do it now that I've got it up. So you can see I'm scrolling it. Like I'm scrolling it down right now. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't like it. Anyways. Back to gravitational distortion poison. Strength saving throw, or at the end of each of its turns, if it fails, it becomes prone. Alright, this guy really likes proning people. Knocking people on the ground. Oh, yeah. What was this one? Astral Schism. Causes an exposed creature to disconnect from its astral self, causing the body to lag behind the mind. The exposed creature makes a charisma saving throw. If it fails, it must take the same action as the previous turn to the extent possible, including continuing to move in the same direction, casting the same spell at the same area, or attacking the same space. Poison ends on a success. That sucks. I'm just going to sit here and do the same thing over and over and over again. This poison anchors a creature to a space. For its next 3 rounds, an exposed creature makes a charisma save at the end of its turn. If it fails, it teleports back to the exact location and plane where it was exposed to the poison. Hi! I hear you like traveling all across reality. Stay here now for the next 18 seconds. Just let me talk. Black poisons are rot and decay. Literally just black poison. Again, very creative. I laud your naming scheme. If an exposed creature would take damage, it makes a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, it takes additional necrotic damage. 3 successful saves, the poison ends. Fairly typical poison effect. Poison causes pods of necrotic spores to sprout from wounds. Must make a Constitution save. If it fails, it takes 1d4 poison damage and is poisoned. At the end of each of its turns, it makes another saving throw against this effect. Each time a creature fails the saving throw, it takes 1d4 damage and remains poisoned. This effect ends on a success. If the creature dies while under the effect of this poison, all creatures within 5 feet of it are exposed to the same poison and must make a save against this effect. Ew. That sucks. I mean, it's not a great thing, because it legitimately is just, once I save, the poison's gone. Like a lot of poisons. Or at least the standard ones. But I'm a fan of corpse bombs in general. I have an ability in my class that allows them to corpse bomb things, which is fantastic, because everybody loves a good corpse bomb. And if you don't, I mean, that's you. I like corpse bombs. I like blowing up bodies and making everybody around them get covered in guts and have to make saves because it's gross and they feel sick. And also violent explosions are damaging. Pain Blossom. Poison takes a few moments to set, causes immense pain. Creature exposed to this poison must make a Constitution save. If it succeeds, this poison ends. Throw at the start of each of its turns. On the 3rd failure, it takes 66 poison damage and is paralyzed until the start of its next turn. Ow! Oh, it's this song. Too hype for me. Sorry, I can't. I can't focus with that kind of music blaring in my ears. Alright, moving on to multicolored poisons. Vulnerability, exposure. Exposed creature makes a constitution save. If it fails, until the end of your next turn, the exposed creature gets disadvantage on certain types of saving throws. Saving types affected depend on the essence colors used to create this poison as follows. So you can use one essence of each color and just give them disadvantage on all saves except Constitution. I guess that's good. That keeps you from doing a spiraling death spiral of poison. Except, you know, it doesn't really stop it because you've got a lot of other poisons that do other things. I don't know about this one. I would say one essence of two colors. I'd limit it to 2 different saves. Because you're already giving somebody disadvantage on a particular type of save. Particularly wisdom or intelligence or charisma, which can do some really brutal things. I mean, charisma can literally just displace you into a plane where you are taking massive amounts of damage. Intelligence can literally permanently reduce all of your stats. If I remember correctly, if we go to the Grimoire real quick. Boop. This is a bit of a high level spell, but boop, Feeble Mind. Must make an intelligence saving throw. Intelligence and charisma scores become 1. Yeah. Giving people disadvantage on these mental saves is huge for other effects. And a lot of them can be really brutal. So I believe you should limit it down to not be able to give you, hey, all your saves, buddy. You thought you were good at these. Nah, sucks to be you. Touch of the Gorgon. 4 essences, equal parts green and yellow, all superior or pure. So 2 green, 2 yellow. You could just say 2 green and 2 yellow. All superior or pure. Up to 2 consecutive successful hits. So, exposed creature must make its constitution saving throw. If the saving throw fails, the creature is petrified. Otherwise, a creature that fails a save is restrained. Oh, okay. The creature must repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. On a failure, the creature becomes or remains petrified. On a success, the creature becomes restrained if it was petrified, and the effect ends if it was restrained. Pure petrification caused by this potion doesn't affect this poison. What? Petrification caused by this poison doesn't affect this poison. On a failure, the creature becomes or remains petrified. On a success, the creature becomes restrained if it was petrified. And the effect ends if it was restrained. Okay, so the way this works, I'm not quite sure about. Oh, this is probably because petrification makes it so that you automatically fail constitution saves, I would imagine. So this just says they still get their constitution save against this poison, even if they're petrified by this poison. So, the way this works, if I'm reading it right, you hit somebody, they make a constitution save. Let's assume the DC is 16, they roll a 15. So they fail, they are restrained. Next turn, they fail again. They are petrified now. Turn after that, they succeed, they become restrained, unpetrifying. They fail again, they become petrified again. They succeed again, they become restrained again. They succeed again, they're free, the poison ends. So the idea is that you have to, if you are petrified, you have to make 2 saves in a row in order to get out of it. If you are just restrained, you only have to make the 1 save to get out of it. So, for instance, somebody gets hit by the poison, they fail the roll with a 11 on the save, they're immediately petrified. They have to make 2 successful saves to get out of it, otherwise they just keep remaining petrified until it comes free. That kind of sucks, but at the same time, I mean, that actually just really sucks. Petrification is not a fun thing. Neither is restrained. Both give advantage on attacks against you. Being petrified gives you automatic failures on a whole bunch of things. Boop. Petrified. Any non-magical object it is wearing or carrying into a solid inanimate substance, usually stone, its weight increases by a factor of 10 and it ceases aging. Creature is incapacitated, can't move or speak, and is unaware of its surroundings. Attack rolls against creature of advantage. Fails strength and dexterity saves. Has resistance to all damage. Oh, is immune to poison and disease, although poison or disease already in the system is suspended, not neutralized. So, if they were... It just keeps them from being immune to the poison. They still have to roll against the poison. They can't just bypass it. Alright. Icy Spectre's breath. An exposed creature's blood runs cold. It makes a wisdom saving throw. Creature that fails, save, feels an extreme cold, and hallucinates a cold mist around it. Creature sees the mist, the creature's speed is reduced to 10 feet, and everything beyond 10 feet around the creature is heavily obscured. Saving throw fails by 5 or more. Creature sees a specter, attack it from mist. The mist, taking 46 cold damage. That's a little bit terrifying. 3 or 9 essences, equal parts white, purple, and yellow. Again, you could just say 1, 2, or 3, white, purple, and yellow, all pure. Then of each turn, the creature repeats wisdom save. On failure, the creature sees the specter, rise from the mist, and attack it, dealing 46 cold damage. Ow! On a success, the specter is banished if the creature can see it, and the effect ends if the creature cannot see it. Boop. Shallow Grave Blight, 4 to 10 essences, equal parts black and yellow, all superior or pure. An exposed creature makes a con save. On a success, this poison ends. It continues to make a constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the poison on a success. If a creature dies under the effects of this poison, it returns as a ghoul or a ghast. After a minute, the creature returns to a state of death. Yuck. The exposed creature makes a wisdom saving throw. On a failure, the creature becomes open to a suggested course of activity. So you have a suggestion as a poison. The suggestion must be worded in such a manner as to make the course of action sound reasonable. Pursues the course of action described to the best of his ability until they complete the suggested action or a minute has passed. The suggested activity can be completed in a shorter time. So yeah, it's just constant. It's just. Excuse me. Just a suggestion, but a poison. Character options. Roguish Archetype, Poisoner. Poison Crafting. At 3rd level, you learn to create poisons. You gain proficiency in the Poisoner's Kit, and you have all the Poison Crafter's features. See Chapter 1 for the general rules of poison crafting, Chapter 2 for a list of the Poison Crafter's features, and Chapter 3 for the list of combat poisons. You know the recipe for 3 combat poisons of your choice from the combat poison list. The recipe's known column of the Rogue Archetype Poison Crafting table shows when you learn more combat poisons. Combat poison recipes. Rogue Archetype Poison Crafting table. Have a great rest of the day, brother. I'll be taking my son for a walk. Keep up the great work. Thank you for coming out, Damaged. You have a good day. Stay awesome. Combat poison limit extraction types. You can attempt a basic blah blah blah. Basic extraction at 13th level. You can attempt an expert extraction. Alright, I guess that's a way to limit it. Recipes known. Combat poison limit. So you know 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All recipes. You just learn all the 20 recipes between the 16th and 17th level. And you can make how many combat poisons you can make at the end of a short or long rest. You can use the same recipe multiple times if desired. You use the bonus action granted by your cunning actions to take the use an abject action. Deep wound exposure. At 9th level, whenever you expose a creature to a poison with a sneak attack, it has a disadvantage on the first saving throw against that poison. Yuck. Good, but yuck. At 13th level, as you make a poison or poisons at the end of short rest, you can use up to 3 poisonous essences as if they were an essence of any color. At 17th level, you have Mastered Poisons. The difficulty class of poisons you create are increased by 1. Additionally, you know all combat poison recipes. Ah, okay. Ooh, Sorceress Origin. Poison crafting. First level, you've learned Calypso's favorite art of creating poisons. So, same as the other one. Recipes known, combat poison limit. First level, you find yourself at home in Calypso's favorite habitat. You gain a swim speed equal to your movement speed, and you can hold your breath for up to 5 minutes. 16th level, when one or more creatures fails a saving throw for a spell you cast, you can spend 1 sorcery point to add combat poisons to the spell. To do so, choose up to 3 creatures which roll the saving throw for the spell. Each of those creatures is exposed to 1 poison for which you have a dose. This expends the doses. At 14th level, up to 4 creatures can be exposed. At 18th level, up to 5 creatures can be exposed. Nice. At 14th level, you can become a swarm of crustaceans to escape bondage and harm. Whenever you suffer a critical hit, take damage that leaves you at less than a quarter of your maximum health, or spend 2 sorcery points as a bonus action. You can choose to explode into a swarm of crustaceans for up to a minute. If you do so, you gain the benefit of the freedom of movement spell, and all attacks against you have disadvantage. Under this effect, you cannot cast other spells or attacks at any time you perform your body, and end this effect early. Once you use this feature, you can't use it until you finish a long rest. At 18th level, if you would create a poison, you may use spell slots in place of poisonous essences. Spell slot used in this way can be any color of poisonous essence. The flexible poison crafting table shows the number and quantity of essences produced depending on the spell slots expended. You can expend any number of spell slots in this way, and these essences can be diluted as normal. That's cool, because you can then like burn all 4 of your first level spell slots to just create poisons. I kind of actually really want to play this now. The following feat allows characters of any class to use poisons. You get the poison crafter features listed in Chapter 2 and have proficiency with the poisoner's kit. Each time you take this feat, you learn 2 poisonous recipes, and your combat poison limit increases by 1. But the first time you take this feat, you can perform basic extractions. If you take this feat twice, you can perform advanced extractions. If you take it 3 times, you can perform expert extractions. So there are a couple typos, a couple really potent poisons, but overall, looking at this, the rules, as I said, I was worried that this would become very complicated. And I don't think that it is too overly complicated. If we go down past the Sorcerer's Origin, does this go into typical poisonous material, purple, mushrooms and mosses, exotic beasts or fae. It gives some examples of some poisonous materials. D6 poisonous materials, essence color. Foraging. It gives us basic tables. Oh, what is this? Oh, these are other things that he has created. So he's created the Artificer, the Gambler, the Brawler, Path of the Fury Shaman, Arcane Descendant, Variant Jumping Rules, and his combat poison system. So, starting from the top, it starts off in a way that makes it seem like it might be very complicated. And that worried me from the start. But, in total, I think we have, what is this, 6 pages of stuff? 7 pages of stuff? Good morning, Anchovy! All in all, this poison manual seems really well done. It seems really well carefully thought out. I think there is a clear overlap, I guess, in green versus black in the way that they function down their types of poisons. But black, I think, is intended to be more offensive. So to catch you up to speed, Anchovy, we're going through a few different things. The first one we're on right now, which we spent the last 40 minutes or so on, is the poison manual. It is a new rule set system with a few homebrew classes, subclasses, and stuff in it for creating poisons and various combat poisons and their effects. It's really well done. It's really well thought out. I think there are ways you could simplify the explanation of things, such as your multicolored poisons. You could say, instead of making saying equal parts black and yellow, you could just say 2 black and yellow, or 2, 3, 4, 5 black and yellow essence. I mean, it's not hard to read. I think there are some really creative effects, some really creative poisons in here. I'd love to play around with some of them. I think some of them are a little bit crazy considering what they might be possible of doing. For instance, the touch of the Gorgon can just keep somebody petrified almost indefinitely. Icy Spectre's Breath can consistently do severe damage to a creature. I mean, 46 is nothing to scoff at. That's 4 short sword attacks without damage modifiers or anything on the end. And it's just if they fail a save that they keep making until they make it 2 times in a row. So, I mean, making it once reduces the effects, which might balance out. I wouldn't know without playtesting. So, again, as the poisons go, I can't really determine balance. Can't read Ultimate Black Widow. What can't you read? Is it too small? Too small for the little eyes? Black Widow? Also, hey, how you doing, Black Widow? That better? Alright. So the poisons are all creative. They're all really fun, really interesting. Whoever put their thought into the poisons, they created... I gave them shit for their names, like the very first black poison and the very first green poison names are literally just black poison, green poison. But realistically, everything else is very well thought out. The names are a little bit weird here and there, but they are interesting effects. I mean, there's one that just straight up says it doesn't actually do anything unless the creature dies, in which case they become a ghoul or a ghast while they're under the effects of the poison. There's this, which suggests that you can just legitimately, with the proper essences, recreate certain spells straight up, because this is literally just suggestion as a poison. What I want to do is alchemy class, where you can make potions in battle like a sleep potion. This could work really well for this. The thing that I like the most about this rule set, though, is these 2 subclasses. So the Poisoner Roguish archetype and the Calypso's Chosen Origin for sorcerers. They're not overly crazy. They show you how to implement the new rules fairly interestingly, and they give you some interesting methods of creating poisons. For instance, they both have a way to convert poison essences, as you create essences from poisonous objects, to other types of essences. And they use it in the way that character or that class would do something like that. I would say that the sorcerer has an advantage on that, because it costs them a single first level spell slot in order to do what the roguish archetype does. But they don't get their thing until 18th level. It is their origins cap, whereas the one that they have is their 13th level. So, you know, it's not a capstone. I'll add this class to my Kenku. Go ahead and take a peek at it. I mean, their subclasses, not classes, unless you're talking about your alchemist class. But anyways, overall, I really like this. So again, that's on the list. And overall, I would say that the Poison Manual rules really well thought out, really well done. Kenku? The Kenku are a race, yeah. Kenku ain't a class. Kenku's a race. Kenku are little bird things. They don't... The Kenku are what's his name from Transformers? Bumblebee. The Bumblebee of the D&D world. Because they don't actually have their own words. They don't speak their own language. They only repeat words and phrases that they've heard other creatures say. So if you're playing a Kenku, take goddamn advantage of that. What we do have here... Could I also screech at people's Kenku? Yeah, I mean, assuming you've heard somebody screech or shout or something, you could replicate that. The idea is that they're basically like copycats. You just replicate things you heard. So yeah, you could screech at people with it. All right, moving on. The poison manual, very good. I'd suggest playing with it if you like poison. Also, write down the things my Kenku hears. Yes, write down where you hear them from as well, so you know who you're referencing. That way, you can try and mock the voice a little bit, because they technically replicate the voice as well as the words. So you can always fuck with the DM that way. What was I saying? Poison Manual was good. I really enjoyed it. It seems very creative. Seems very well thought out. It would have to require playtesting to see how balanced it is, because some of it seems like it might be really strong, but otherwise, it seems fun. It seems good. Moving on, we're going to move to the Ordling race. The Ordling race was created by user Squidian on Unearthed Arcana. It was posted 6 days ago. Thorin stepped into the tavern, ducking under the doorway, still nearly catching his 8-foot frame on the doorway. He crossed to the bar, the far smaller humans around him clearing a path, fear and awe painted on their faces. Several of them, feeling brave and seeing a good chance to impress their fellows, approached him looking for a fight. Thorin turned to his challengers, and before the first punch could be thrown, he doubled in size. Lightning crackling up and down his arms, he threw one punch. His target blasted back across the room, scorched by lightning. Is Poison Master a class in 5e? Poison Master is not. But if you wanted to go the Poison Master style, or if you wanted to be a Poison Master, I would say pick up the Rogue class, and then talk to your DM about using this roguish archetype that they have in this manual, which will be linked in the actual GM binder when I post it, which will be on my Discord just down below. So join that if you're interested. Join that if you like what you're seeing here. Don't forget to follow, stuff like that. I know Anchovy already has. I don't know who else might be sitting there, though, listening. Ordlings are to giants and humans what tieflings are to fiends and humans. Long ago, when giants still ruled the world, they blessed their human followers with a fraction of their power, transforming them into Ordlings. They stayed with the giants as servants or ventured off into the world to serve as spies and soldiers among smaller folk. Ordlings live in an interesting in-between of giants and humanoids. Ever since the giants fell from grace, they serve no purpose to them, and they are too large to live among people comfortably, so they live away from regular civilization in groups and locations similar to their giant counterparts. Ordlings have their own version of the Ordning. Despite the fact that they don't rank in the giants' own, it is almost the exact same as the giants, with Storm Ordlings ranking above every other group, and each group having their own individual ranking system. You have the following racial traits: Strength and Constitution increased by 1, live about 200 years, tend toward law, stand between 7 and 8 feet tall, weigh 250 to 350 pounds, walking speed of 30 feet. You count as one size larger when determining your carry capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift. You've mastered the giant art of rock throwing. You can pick up a rock off the ground or carry them with you and use them as a thrown weapon with a range of 20 to 60 feet. You're proficient in use of these rocks, and it uses strength for the attack and damage rolls. It deals 1d6 bludgeoning damage. The only poison stuff I have is poison spray. My Kenku stats I rolled were really low, though. What is a good balanced class for that? Druid. Druid is just, if your stats suck, Druid, because you shapeshift. Your shit don't matter then, baby. You get other people, you get other monsters, other creatures' abilities. Your scores don't matter no more, honey. I don't know why I did that. That was weird. Anyways, Ordling sub-races. Oh, wait, no. Soul of the Allfather. Starting at their level, you can use your action to access the power of your giant kin. Your size doubles in all dimensions, causing your size to increase by 1 category. Your transformation lasts for 1 minute, or until you end it as a bonus action. You have advantage on strength checks and saving throws. You gain advantage on charisma and intimidation checks, and you gain another bonus based on your sub-race. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. You can speak, read, and write Common and Giant. 6 sub-races of Ordling exist, 1 for each race of true giant: Hill, Stone, Frost, Fire, Cloud, and Storm. So you essentially get a mini enlarge person spell on self, enlarge self. That's cool. Hill Ordlings share the gluttonous, savage tendencies of their giant relatives. They live in the wilderness even further than most other Ordlings, eating whatever they can find. You have powerful jaws that you can use to make unarmed strikes. If you hit with it, you deal piercing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier, instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. Strong stomach, years of eating everything from raw meat to rotting garbage, have conditioned your body to resist all kinds of diseases and poisons. You have advantage on saving throws to resist diseases and poisons. Hunger of Grolandor! When you activate your Soul of the All-Father trait, you fly into a feeding frenzy. Once per turn, when you hit someone with your bite attack, you gain temporary hit points equal to the damage dealt. These temporary hit points last until the end of your Soul of the All-Father trait. Yeah, that seems good. The way temporary hit points work, since they overwrite each other, that doesn't seem like it'd get out of hand. You can't just keep stacking temp HP if things aren't attacking you. You give yourself a little bit of a shield. That's cool. That makes them a bit of a tankier race with a Constitution score increase, as well as dealing a little bit of damage. They can also resist poisons and diseases, so getting up close and personal with more dangerous critters that have built-in poisons and stuff, not as big a deal. So this whole thing builds them out to be a bit of a tank hill Lordlings, while still fitting their theme of being gluttonous, ravaging monsters. Stone Orlings, like their giant counterparts, prefer to keep to themselves, living in caves and spending most of their time working on their art. They are kind and gentle among their kin, but when their home is threatened by outsiders, they can quickly become aggressive. Dark Vision, ability score of Wisdom, goes up by 1. You're practicing the art of stone carving, you gain proficiency in Mason's tools. When you activate your Soul of the All-Father trait, your skin becomes as hard as granite. You gain +2 to your AC while Soul of the All-Father is active. Considering what you got up here, you got an ASI, +1 to con. You got an offensive thing that played into this. I would work this Stone Sculptor a little bit. Give it something other than just, hey, you're proficient in Mason Souls. I'd probably add a little bit more to this to give them something that they can do that's unique to Stone Wardlings. For instance, proficiency in Mason's tools, and I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But it just feels like this one with Dark Vision. Dark Vision's like, I mean, it's just a thing that's super common. It's not really that valuable either, especially once you know how it really works. So it seems at disorder with having this attack. But then that attack isn't that great either. It's just a short sword. You basically just get a free short sword that you always have. Frost Orlings live in the far northern ports the far northern ports of the world, sailing from port to port, sticking to the cold coastal waters of the Arctic Circle. Far northern parts of the world, among the ice and snow, living out their days, having contests of strength and valor. They relish battle and war, as they feel is the truest test ground of their strength. Strength score increases by 1 again. What is this? Hold on. Boop, boop, boop. That is really, really awkward. I will have to read that one like this when we get to it. Unfortunately. Boop. Right. Anyways. They get an increase to strength of +1. They gain resistance. Giant resistance living in the cold. You have resistance to cold damage. I would also add into this that you are... what is it? What is it they use? What website do I go to make a class up? There's not really any particular website that you use to make a class up. I would suggest, if you're going to write a class, look up guides on it. Because making a class is ridiculously hard, and one of the worst things you can do with it is overload it. And it is the biggest mistake that new homebrewers make, is trying to dive into a class, which is, 1, takes fucking ages to do right and to balance properly, and 2, it just ends up in a really, really bad overbalanced or underbalanced way. Hello, Shippo! Hoi! It's me, Timmy. Literally, that's my name, Tim. Hey, Demi. Welcome to the stream. We're reviewing the Ordling race currently. Well, go ahead and post it in the chat. Post your idea in chat, and I will talk about it as I see it. Let's see. Frost Ordlings live in the far northern parts of the world. Blah blah blah. We already read all that. Born for war. All you do is fight every day. You gain proficiency in 2 martial weapons of your choice. Winter of Thrym. When you activate your Soul of the Allfather trait, your blood runs cold in your veins. While Soul of the Allfather is active, once on each of your turns, you can deal extra cold damage to one target when you deal damage to it with an attack or spell. The extra cold damage equals your level. That's not bad. Again, it feels a little bit minimal compared to the very first one. I feel like the very first one ended up being a little bit overtuned. Human variant, start Warlock, which has War Casting Feat. Starts the shield for +2 AC, but then at level 2, Mage Armor from Eldritch Invocation, Armor of Shadows for base AC to be 13. Which would make you a base AC of 15 with the shield. Yeah. I mean, it'd work. Fire to get close quarters shooter at level 3 for being able to Eldritch Blast when standing next to enemies. You could also, there was a spell that I saw a long time ago that you could ask to get as an invocation, which is literally just a melee Eldritch Blast. It was such a dumb thing. It was a terrible spell. Don't do that. Fire Ordlings make their homes in volcanoes and other areas rife with fire, using such things to forge their masterworks. They rival dwarves and their giant ancestors as well in terms of the quality of their creations. They also have an intense rivalry with Frost Ordlings, emulating the one between fire and frost giants. You gain a strength score +1. You resist fire damage. Born to Forge, you are a master of smithing, unmatched by most. You gain proficiency in smith's tools. When you activate your Soul of the Allfather, your body is wreathed in fire. While Soul of the Allfather is active, once on each returns, you can deal extra fire damage. So it's very similar to the Frost Ordlings. Get close quarter shooter. Then level 5 character will be level 3 champion, 2 warlock for crit-oriented warlock. I have no idea how that would play out in the long run of the campaign. I am one of those people who I do not particularly condone creating classes, multi-class characters specifically to do something stupid and combat focused. I'm a very much story-based DM and player, but I see a lot of this kind of stuff. Crit chance is 15%. Level 15, fighter champion, level 2 warlock. Crit chance is 15% from 18, 19, and 20. So, that sounds like it'd be fun to play. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to play. It sounds like, honestly, something that I've heard of before. I feel like I've heard that build before somewhere. Rather than needing to be level 20 for extra attack. Well, even if you had extra attack, it wouldn't let you use an additional spell. Doesn't work like that. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yes, Cloud Ordlings. Cloud Ordlings love to surround themselves with the trappings of wealth. Even if they themselves are not particularly wealthy, they are cunning and charming, and often insinuate themselves into the courts of society by any means possible. They are the only race of Ordlings that consistently live around other humanoids. Charisma increases by 1. You have a natural charm about you, but whether you use this for good or evil is up to you. You gain proficiency in persuasion or deception. Not both, just persuasion or deception. Prolific gambler, you love gambling almost as much as cloud giants do. You gain proficiency in one gaming set of your choice, preferably one used for gambling such as dice or cards. And Charm of Memnor. When you activate your Soul of the Allfather trait, you exude an irresistible charm. The instant you transform, other creatures within 10 feet of you what you probably want to use to make it Anchovy is GM Binder or Homebrewery or something along those lines. And I'm trying to think of they have built in, like if we go to my GM binder real quick, we go down to this new page break, and we click this little magic wand here. It has class block narrow, class feature, not column break. Where is it? Where is it? Tables, split tables. It has a bunch of different stuff that you can add in to build the class piece, kind of piecemeal. gmbinder.com. Boop. Right there. It's really handy. It's a fun little site. It's fairly simple to use, fairly simple to create your versions as well. We're going to have to zoom out of this now so that we can actually read the storyboard links. I apologize. I know it's too small for you guys to actually read when it's like this, but a style character is supposed to be a flexible, tanky DPS. So it's supposed to be a brawler. Base AC is 15 plus dex having mage armor plus shield. Yeah. So it's a brawler class. That's what a flexible tank / DPS class is generally referred to. It's a brawler. You can be tanky as well as deal damage. But you don't necessarily excel at either one sometimes. Sometimes you excel at one, but the other isn't as great. Like 15 plus dex plus shields, like that could get you up to 22, which is really strong. But 13 plus dex plus shield is up to 20. Well, you said 15, sir. You said your base ACT is 15. I went off of that. And if you get the dex book that increases your maximum dex modifier, you can get... But it wasn't. You said base AC is 15, plus dex having mage armor plus shield. I think that just is... I think that makes sense to me when I read it. But it... Blood Ominous having vampire skills without being a vampire, like turning into a cloud of bats or draining blood through the air. You might look at... Oh, I guess no, their thing is... Matt Mercer's subclass, the Blood Hunter, actually suggests that you are a vampire. So, and it's not so much grammar as it is the way it's written. It's more of a... It's not the grammar problem. It's like a equational problem. Like if you wrote your base AC is 15, which is dex plus mage armor plus shield, or dex plus mage armor plus shield, or mage armor plus shield. Yeah. Yeah, but a barbarian that doesn't end up having 20 dex and con rolled really shit for stats. Also, barbs get +4 to their strength and constitution, and the max of their strength and constitution at level 20. So, Storm Ordlings, moving on to the last part of the Ordling race. Storm Ordlings are some of the most reclusive of the Ordlings, living far away from society and other Ordlings, barely acknowledging anyone else. They spend their lives waiting for the reappearance of Adam, living in their cities under the sea. They are by far the rarest Ordling adventurers, but every once in a while they venture outside their homes to help the world with problems foreseen in their omens. Intelligence increases by 1, you can breathe air and water, you can have a swimming speed of 30 feet, when you activate your Soul of the Allfather trait, electricity crackles across your skin while Soul of the Allfather is active. So in each of your turns you can deal extra damage equal to your level whenever you would deal damage with an attack or spell. So I think these three are a little bit of the least creative ones, the Frost, Storm, and Fire Ordlings. But overall, I like that there's a particular feature, a particular trait given in the base trait that then each race, each sub-race, has its own modification to. So, I like this. I like the Ordling. This is 2 in a row that I've really liked. There's a couple typos. The Hill Ordling, I think I might just be overvaluing Bite. But the Hill Ordling feels like it's got just a bit more to it because of the Bite than the other 5 sub-races who seem to have just like proficiency in weapons and proficiency in Swiss tools. These two do have resistance to a type of damage, which is fairly alright. It's only about a 15% up to their health points, though. So, if I remember how that calculation works, really want to try out that character in a D&D 5e, in a 5e D&D game. Flailing about. Go to Roll20. If you haven't been, just post. Instead of looking through things and posting your own applications to people's things, post and say, hey, I want to run a high-level multi-class focused campaign where we all play different multi-class characters and build them up into these powerhouses. I'm looking for a DM who's willing to run something like that. That might be combat focused, because typically those games are. And as well as other players who are interested in that kind of game. You post that up on Roll20, and then just wait, see what you get. That's the best way to find a game. That or various other online sites that I don't remember off the top of my head. Boop. But alright. So the Ordling, I like the Ordling. We're gonna move on past the Ordling. Now we have the Empress Corona or Stet creature monster, a CR22 monster created from somebody else's. As you were talking about creating your own character, this is somebody else's level 20 character, which they turned into, although I don't know why it took them 30 hours, but they turned into a monster. So let's see how well they did this. This could be the biggest one, because people tend to get carried away when they create high-level monsters. It's very easy to create a high-level monster. Yeah. Do they have their things in here? Alright. Doesn't look like it. So, I'm going to go ahead, because of the high level of this, I'm not going to go through all the mathematical calculations and stuff to see if they've got the right CR for this. We're just going to go through this and see how it feels for a monster. So, AC of 19 with a mitral plate armor, which I think is misspelled. A little bit of a typo. That's alright. They have a dex, a strength of 27, dex and con of 9 and 8, an int of 20, a whiz of 20, and a charisma of 24. If this is an actual character's statistics, that is ridiculous. Chrono's strength score is 8 when not wearing her belt of Cloud Giant strength. Oh, okay, so she's got a belt that gives her that strength score. I was about to say, that's ridiculous. How did you get those stats? You just focused on your spellcasting stuff. I'm imagining this is probably a Sork or a Warlock. What kind of spells do you have? Or a Bard. Vicious Mockery suggests that it was a Bard. Dissonant Whispers, Hold Person Silence, Mirror Image, Dispel, Magic, Hypnotic Pattern, Create Food and Water. It'd be funny if someone made Sephiroth as a boss to fight. I am sure somebody has made Sephiroth. I'm sure if I Google it, I can find a Sephiroth. I can find a dozen Sephiroth fucking monsters. I can find a bunch that are overdone and overtuned. I can find a bunch that are really crap and don't really speak to it. And I wouldn't know which ones those are because I have not played Final Fantasy. Hit points 225. I mean, you're a 20th level character, so not large undead half elf. 50d10 minus 50. 40-foot movement speed, 60-foot fly speed. Saving throws con plus 6, wisdom plus 12, charisma plus 14, skills arcana, history, these are the skills that they had, I imagine. Damage resistances, force and psychic, and damage vulnerabilities, necrotic. That's a little bit funny considering they're an undead creature, and undead creatures tend to have immunity or resistance to necrotic, not the other way around. Alright. Blinded, Charmed, Frightened. True sight of 120 feet. Blind beyond this radius. Passive perception of 29. They speak a bunch of different languages, and they have telepathy up to 120 feet. I will play through the original Final Fantasy games if somebody buys me the goddamn games. I'm not gonna go back and buy those games to play through them when nobody's gonna watch them. Not a nobody who doesn't know how to play them or what they're doing play them. They just will not watch that. Krona, Ancient Wards. Krona cannot be teleported or transported to another plane, including through portals unless she chooses to be. Krona has advantage on Constitution saving throws made to maintain concentration on spells. Krona has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. She's a 20th level spellcaster with a whole bunch of shit. Fleeting Life Force. If Krona takes necrotic damage, she has disadvantage on Constitution. Constitution saving throws until the end of her next turn. Actions. Multi-attack. Krona makes 3 attacks, 2 with her Materia Mori and 1 with her Staff of the War Magi. Alternatively, she may cast a spell and make 1 weapon attack. Staff of the War Magi plus 1 quarterstaff. Plus 16 to hit, reach 10 feet. I guess they gave her to that because she's large, except you're not supposed to give reach until they're huge. 1 target hit, 18, 2d8 plus 9 force damage. Attacks with Materia Mori, ignore cover, can pass through solid objects without affecting them, cannot be resisted, and deal an additional 9 force damage to Apparition, Celestials, Elements, Fae, and Fiends. So assuming that the players are not any of these, you deal, on average, 36 brain. 52. Why was that so hard to add up in my head? 52 damage per round, per attack, or yeah, per round. And you have a bunch of spells, but not a lot of damaging spells. Psychic Scream is a big one. What is Psychic Scream's damage? D&D. Resources, Grimoire. Psychic Scream! Boop. 14d6. Boop. 49. Times 2, because you assume that there are 2 people. Plus 18. So you've got 116 plus that you can see within range. I would assume that this is going to hit full party actually. So, 116. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Is there an undo? No. Okay. Add 49. Plus 49 equals 214 plus 52 plus 52 divided by 3. So just got an average DPS of 106. Which I think is good. I know I said I wasn't going to go into the maths of this. I'm doing it. Too late. 102 damage puts her at a CR of 16 offensively for her spells. For her spells alone, her health puts her at a CR of 11, with her AC putting her at a CR of 12. And let me double check her, not you, go away, other traits. So she has advantage, she has resistance to 2 things, a couple condition immunities. Honestly, she's probably a CR 11 creature with her vulnerability, CR 12, for offense and defense. Assuming she uses, at least I have a reason for my Kenku to mimic Celestial. My Kenku background is he was a human cursed by a Celestial and turned into a Kenku. How does that sound? Yeah, He'd have reasons to mimic Celestial shit. Just start speaking Celestial. Resistance to force damage. Yeah. Oh, see, I mean, my thing is like, I am force. So the joke that always comes up is if something has resistance to force damage, it just has resistance to all damage that I deal. All of it. Every point of damage. Doesn't have to be just the force element. I hate when that comes up. Chronos holding her staff of the magic and started by a spell that targets only her. She may cancel its effect and may immediately regain a grant a spent spell slot equal to or less than the level of the spell she was targeted with, up to 5th level. So that gives her... I believe that... Oh, yeah, that is a reaction, so she can only do that once per turn. Legendary actions. Chrono can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only one legendary action option can be used at a time, and only at the end of another creature's turn. Chrono regains spent legendary actions at the start of her turn. To 7 creatures of Chrono's choice within 60 feet that can hear her gain advantage of weapon attacks for the next round. Chrono moves up to her movement speed through the ethereal plane. She becomes corporeal again at the end of her movement and is ejected into the nearest unoccupied space, if occupying the same space as an object or creature. Alright. So in terms of mechanically, I don't think she's actually... Chain Lightning is her next... Disintegrate is her next best spell. So if we go... Pop open this. So assuming this is 14d6... Hold on. Calculator. Pull this up. That many legendary actions is ridiculous. That many legendary actions is just a dragon. That's just how many actions a dragon gets. You get 3 legendary action points, and you can do those things with them. I mean, dragons have 3 legendary actions. Ancient dragons have 3 legendary actions and 3 legendary action points. So, and they have legendary resistances. She didn't even give her character legendary resistances, so you'd be glad for that. Of course, and she does have spell absorption, which functions similarly. Chrono can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only 1 legendary action can be used at a time. Yeah, so she's not even an ancient dragon. Thank you for pointing that out. Sometimes I read over things so fast I just completely miss it. That makes it actually even less powerful than I thought. Anyways, point is... Yeah, legendary actions always are regained at the start of a legendary creature's turn. So, same thing with dragons. Dragons get 3 legendary actions at the start of their turn. They regain any that they've spent. They get 3 legendary action points. So the way a dragon works, an ancient dragon works, is they have 3 legendary actions that they can choose from. One of them costs like 2 points. The other 2 cost 1 point, and then they have 3 points to spend, and they regain those points at the start of each of their turns. That's supposed to be part of what makes legendary creatures so powerful. I use Paragon creatures, which is the thing created by the Angry GM, which is what I prefer, personally. But, you know, 196. Now we're going to go... Anyways, going back to what we were doing, her damage output for offensive. Disintegrate is something... It's like 10d10, I think. Disintegrate... 10d6 plus 40, so close to 10d10. So we're going to do 196 plus 3.5 times 10 plus 40 plus 196. And what was the... Hold on. What was the 75? Plus 35 again. 346. Divided by 3. Alright. See you around, Shippo. Make sure you click the follow button before you go. So that's 116, 115 damage. She does 115 damage per round on average. I said click the follow button before you go. Oh, hey, Geo. I thought that was Shippo. The same color. Same phrasing when you think about it, too. Shippo, Geo. Not much. How you going, Geo Stellar? I'm just doing maths, because apparently that's the thing I enjoy. Thank you very much. Best follow ever. What was that damage I just listed? 115. So that makes her a CR 18 creature offensively with an appropriate DC. Double check her DC. I think her DC was 23. Plus 15 to hit with spell attack. Which means she's a CR. Where to go? 18. Save DC of 19, so she goes up to 20. So she's a CR 20 offensive creature. Stream keeps buffering for me. That a Twitch thing or a me thing? That might be a you thing. I've had a few drop frames, but nothing recently. That might also be a Twitch thing. I know just shortly before I started streaming, they were having some issues with Twitch and with loading across thing. So it might be... Well, I'm not dropping frames currently. I dropped frames at one point. Yeah, I guess Anchovy doesn't have that problem, Geo, so it might be a you thing. Again, it might also be a Twitch thing. I don't know if they fixed all their problems that they were having, but they were having some for a while. Most of the abilities these items have already shown somewhere else in the stat block. The only one that really needs explanation is to have the War Maggie. Which doesn't make much sense. I like the idea to cast a spell on attack, so I think determining damage is always a pain. You assume 4 people hit with 2 chain lightnings. 1 second screen. Oh yeah, I forgot the actual melee attacks, so. This is kind of what I was feeling with this, but. Anyways, just reading this, I'm not going to read into like all their history, everything. Lair actions, Chronos affected as by the haste spell, her movement speed. Chrono keys a lair action to cause one of the following effects. Chrono can't use the same effect 2 rounds in a row. By the haste spell, her movement speed doubles, her armor class increases by 2. She has advantage to dexterity saving throws. Chrono casts a scatter spell without expending a spell slot. She can target all creatures of her choice within her lair, regardless of range. Chrono bolsters the morale of her allies. Creatures of Chrono's choice in her lair may immediately move up to their movement speed without provoking opportunity attacks, and each make 1 weapon attack against a creature of her choice. I think the biggest thing I would say about this creature, from everything I can read, is that it looks like they are designed. Here we've got this guy. It looks like these creatures are designed. It looks like this creature is designed to work with a group of allies, if that makes sense. Because it's a bard. It was a bard base. You can tell that by the amount of fucking skills it has and how good they are. On top of like their Inspire Victory feature here, the fact that they use Vicious Mockery, and Thaumaturgy, and Dissonant Whispers, and Silence, Spell Magic. These are all very, like, common bardic spells. So, this is clearly a bard, and I like it. There's some typos. Like it was mentioned here, Spell Absorption is ridiculous in terms of, like, it basically negates one of your team's spellcasters. They can't do anything. At least it doesn't say cantrip, so in theory they can still hit them with cantrips, but it basically means, oh, my suggestion spell, my dominate monster spell, my disintegrate spell, all these spells that I have that I would normally use, can't. I just can't because she just eats them. That sucks. It is her reaction, so she can only do it once per turn, but you can only, if you only have one spellcaster casting one spell per turn, they have to stick to AoE spells and stuff like that, and that hurts so bad. I like these two legendary actions. I don't particularly, again, it feels like this monster, this creature, is designed to work with other creatures. So, while I don't think she is a CR22, looking at all this, I would probably put her at a CR20 or CR19 instead of a CR22. I also don't believe that she is really an interesting thing to fight, if you know what I mean. Because in order to fight her, you need to have a party of level 20s to start, first off. Second, you need her to have a party of people, a few people. So she'll have up to 3 other friends of her own. So you make her an opposing NPC party member. And she'd be a more supportive, but everything about her suggests that she's supposed to be a little bit of both. And you can tell that this is a character, that this is a player's character, not like a creature with any intended goal or idea or concept. They don't have a theme, because it doesn't stick to a theme beyond I am Bard. I support and I cast offensive spells occasionally. Bard. La da da da. And that makes, while it's a fun idea, it just doesn't feel interesting to me. It's not something I would ever, back in Seems Better, what is this? This stream or what I'm looking at right now in particular? I'm about to finish up here. I would say this is not a thing that I would ever use against my players, but it is a fun thing to do with your PCs once they retire and stuff like that, is create a monster of them. See what you can come up with. Not exactly the greatest thing. Twitch is crapping out on you again. God damn it, Twitch. Be nice to Geo so he can watch me talk out my ass about D&D created stuff. Ah. Alright. Moving on from Dorstedt. Krona Orstedt. Again, don't use this. It's not really that interesting a monster. It is an interesting concept, but the monster itself is... as with a lot of monsters that are created, and the reason you don't use character class like features is because it creates things like this that don't really have a purpose, or that are over to a degree. So Quagsire traits. As a Quagsire, we're going to move on to our next thing, which is a race, the Quagsire race, which seems to be a more jokey race. It's called, as it's titled, the 5e player race nobody asked for. You can type it up in here. I'm gonna do this race here. If you type it in the Discord, links beneath the stream. It doesn't get lost in the chat. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the 5e player race that nobody asked for. I'm probably gonna end off on this. Hey, Anasazi, how you doing? We're gonna go ahead and drop the chieftain out because I do not have time to do a full class, but this is something that I want to look at some point. This chieftain class. So, Quagsire race that we're about to dive into and look at was uploaded by user Lucas Pucus 6. Lucas Pucus 6. Sounds like a dance number. This is apparently one of his first homebrew documents, so we're going to dive right into this. We're going to take a look at this and see what comes up. I love Pokemon. I'm a nerd. That is true. I mean, I'm here doing a D&D live stream. So we're going to take a look at this real quick, see what he came up with, see how this plays out, and see if this is interesting, see if he's done a good job. I was thinking about a custom druid circle thing where instead of using wild shape to take the form of various animals, the caster takes on the aspects of various environments, gaining buffs depending on the terrain they are on at higher levels. Instead of getting better animals, you can take on more destructive elements and choose what terrain you want to take on. So sort of a more elemental focused thing, because I know at least Circle of the Moon, is it? It's one. They all get elemental forms, I believe. I haven't played much druids. I just recommend it for people. But that's something to take a look at. We'll see if we can. I probably won't go into like actual detailed mechanics on what to do with that, because I have a couple prompts already lined up. But Geo, if you pop that, and I'm gonna type this in here as well. I'll go ahead and go onto my Twitch stream. You guys are gonna get some twitch.tv/Frost2Reckon. We're gonna actually pull this so you don't get the crazy stuff. Boop. Mute it before it starts. We're gonna copy this Discord. Boop. I want to post this here. Go ahead and join that, read through, and accept the rules, and post that in the hashtag prompts and what was it? Prompts and review channel near the bottom. I'll go over some thoughts on this week, but I'll probably have to. Yeah, I'm typing it. I am typing it right now, but I'll probably have to take some time and do the actual detailed features and stuff next week. Boop. Going to minimize that. I will talk over during this stream ideas on making that work. But if it gets put in that prompts and review channel, and that goes for everybody watching, if you join the Discord down below, follow up above, there's a prompts and review channel once you accept the rules and get access to the rest of the Discord, where you can go down and you can put in prompts and ideas that you've had that you'd like to see me homebrew, as well as if you have your own homebrew stuff, you can put it in there with a little hashtag review on it, and I'll take a look at it next week instead of picking up random stuff. But yeah, that's a place to give me stuff to look at or give me ideas to play with for my streams. So, jumping into the Quagsire race. As a Quagsire, you have a number of unique traits that you share with other members of your species and subspecies, obviously. Your con increases by 2. You are hatched as an armless larval form called a Whooper, which matures within 2 years, growing arms and achieving their adult Quagsire form. Once matured, a Quagsire can live as long as 25 years. Wild Quagsire generally keep to themselves, they're preferring neutral alignments. Their oblivious, self-serving nature quashes any interest they may have in the struggle between law and chaos. However, domesticated Quagsire often mirror the alignments of their trainers. Stand between 4 and 5 feet tall, weigh between 150 and 200 pounds, size is medium, base walking speed is 25 feet, and you have a swimming speed of 25 feet. You can breathe air and water. Your thick, club-like tail acts as a natural weapon, which you can use to make unarmed strikes. Hey, thanks for the follower. Why was it echoing? Is that echoing for you guys? That just echoed for me. I don't know why that echoed. That was weird. Anyways, moving on. I'll see if I can Google some stuff on that afterwards. You deal bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier. I assume, yeah, it acts as a natural weapon, so therefore you are proficient with it. You can speak, read, and write Common and Aquan using the primordial Aqua language. That's fun. Quagsire have a number of subspecies depending on each one's parents and habitat. Choose whether your Quagsire is blue, mountain, or royal. Most common species of Quagsire, better known as blue Quagsire, are the closest to purebreeds out of the subspecies. Increase of wisdom by 1. Your thick skin. Are these beings weak to Thorn Whip in particular? I would imagine it's a grass type move. Give them vulnerability to what, poison? I don't know how you'd handle that, but yes, I imagine they would have vulnerability to Thorn Whip. Disadvantage on the saves, double the damage. Your wisdom score increases by 1. Your thick skin and swampy habitat have made your body a natural shock absorber. You're resistant to lightning damage. You can use your action to exhale a wide blast of water. Creatures in a 15-foot cone must make a strength saving throw or be pushed back 10 feet and knocked prone. The DC for the saving throw equals 8 plus your constitution modifier plus your proficiency bonus. Objects automatically fail to save. The water extinguishes unprotected flames. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your constitution modifier. You regain expended uses after a long rest. Quagsire, use muddy water. Up a fire in my muddy water. This is the image in my head. Mountain Quagsire are a crossbred variant of the Quagsire, often living in more dry or rocky environments. I wish my Twitch was working because you sound cool. Hey, I'm cool. I stream every day of the week. Just only do D&D on Thursdays. What was I saying? Mountain Quagsire are a crossbred variant of the Quagsire, often living in more dry, rocky environments such as mountains, plateaus, or caves. A Mountain Quagsire is born if one of its parents is a sturdy, rugged Pokemon such as Rhydon, Caracosta, or Excadrill. Excadrill sounds like excrement. It's just a shit Excadrill. You are just a terrible Excadrill! You're so bad, you are shitty and terrible, and you smell funny, and you need a bath. I know you hate water, Excadrill, but come on! Strength score increases by 1. You have a climbing speed of 25 feet. You were born with tough, scaly skin that makes you more hardy than other Quagsire. When you aren't wearing armor, your AC is 13 plus your Dex modifier. Shield's benefits apply as normal while you use your natural armor. Shields already don't override natural armor, so you don't have to add that in, but I like muddy water. I like damp. So far, it seems so good. Royal Quagsire are another crossbred variant of the Quagsire, having wing-like ears and a small horn protruding from their forehead. Royal Quagsire is born if one of its parents is a horned aquatic Pokemon such as Lapras, Dugong, or Dragonite. Your dexterity score increases by 1. Ice Beam, you know the Ray of Frost cantrip. Constitution is your spellcasting ability for it. Unaware, you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. Oh, I love this. I love this thing. This is cute. It's something that nobody wanted or needed, but it is very well done. I like the muddy water. I like the use of Pokemon names in this. Muddy water, Ice Beam, Pokemon ability, Unaware. Hey, you're a gentleman and a scholar. Why is it echoing? God damn it. Do I have 2 alert boxes on here somehow? Boop. Sorry, I'm now obsessed with figuring out why it's... Where's this one? Boop. Oh hey, I forgot I had this little fella. Alright, well, now I theoretically only have the one alert box now. So hopefully it'll stop echoing. Hopefully. Alright, thank you very much for the follow, Gio. And Anasazi. I think I said Anasazi already, but I'm saying it again. So, I like this. I like this race. I like the Quagsire. I like the use of Pokemon names and ideas. Iron Tail moves for referencing things. This is cute, it's fun, it's quirky, and it's not crazy like you might expect it to be. I probably wouldn't. It would be interesting to see somebody play this actually. So, anyways, I am gonna go ahead because my throat is dry AF. I'm gonna go ahead and go on break. So I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna take 10 or 15 minutes, get a drink, get some food, get my gullet, and then we're gonna work on these prompts. So we have 3 prompts that we're gonna be doing today. I'm gonna move these over so you can see them. Boop. So the first prompt we're gonna be working on is called Down Under Dark, where we are going to create a spell which is themed around the Underdark or would help people survive in its harsh environment. I have a pretty basic premise for this, which I hope hasn't already been used by the people who made the thing, but I intend to create it. So then we have Gardener's Tree, which is create a magic item that can manipulate plants, making them grow to tremendous sizes, sprout from the ground, obtain sentience. One fantastical feat of plant power is wielded by this item. And then last, we have the most dangerous game. This is going to be the biggest one, and we might not get through it completely, but I'm going to try. The concept is to write about a monster that excels in the hunt of something dangerous. So what we're going to end up doing with that is we're going to look through some of the most dangerous D&D 5e monsters. I have the Beholder as my kind of like favored monster, so I might just make a Beholder Hunter monster of some kind. And then there's a bonus given where if you incorporate the trophies of its hunt. This is part of why I want to use beholders, because I could see them taking the eye stalks from beholders and using them like wands to cast beholder-like effects. So we'll probably do something like that. Or go down that route. In fact, I really like that idea, so that's probably what I'll end up doing. But all this, when I come back, we're going to go into the homebrew creation, where I'm going to start talking homebrew and how I go through creating stuff as we create this Down Under Dark spell, the Gardener's Dream item, and the most dangerous game monster. So, while I go do that, I'm going to leave you guys with this epic Viking metal music in the background. Excuse me. Oh my lord. And I am going to go ahead and go on break. Remember, if you haven't already and you are sitting there and you are enjoying your time, whether you're off playing something else or whatnot, click the follow button up above. We have a Discord link down below, as well as Twitter if you want to follow my Twitter. It's just a great way to keep up with what I do, what I talk about. You can help promote me because I love doing this and I would love to continue to do this. And the best way to give back without giving money is to just tell people about it. So thank you guys very much for coming out. Follow if you haven't already. Subscribe if you really like this and you want to toss me some money. And join the Discord so you can keep up, keep in chat, keep in contact with me. That's where I spend not most of my time, but that's where I'm easiest to contact. And where you can submit prompt ideas and items, your own homebrew stuff to be reviewed. So my name is Force. I'm going to be right back. I will talk to you in 10 or 15 minutes. Thank you, Anasazi. See you later. we go. So, welcome back everybody to the awesome D&D Dungeons and Decisions live stream. I've got my strawberry lemonade. That is so far so good. The packet itself was apparently really old. It was like, instead of being powder, it was like pellets, like 2 or 3 little pellets of powder. So I've just been shaking this for like 5 minutes, just like, hear that liquid slosh around. Um, and we are going to dive into creating our own stuff now. Now, I do actually have something that it looks like I might have to do in an hour, so we will see how that ends up playing out. Um, but we're going to try and get as much of this done as possible. So the first things we're going to do, Down Underdark. We're going to create a spell which is themed around the Underdark, or to help people survive in its harsh environment. So we're going to move on to a new page, and we're going to take this Down Underdark theme, and we're going to put it here. Boop. So that is our goal for today. What we're going to do is we are going to add a div tag here. Div, I believe it's just equals wide. Boop. Close div. I'm going to have to double check one of my other documents real quick. Hold on. Might be class div or something like that. It's been a while since I've tried doing my own programming. So this is the other one I did from last week. We've got our prop links and stuff in here. We have div class equals wide. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna have to do div class equals wide. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna create is a spell. So we're gonna go ahead and click on our spell thing here. Click on this little magic wand up here that gives us stuff, and we're gonna go for a spell block. This is gonna give us a big list of things to fill in. So the first thing we're going to do is, what is the Underdark? Let's go ahead and look this up. For people who don't know what the Underdark is, I think everybody watching does know what the Underdark is, but we're going to look it up real quick just to clarify. Boop. We're going to go to Wikipedia. No, we're not. Forgotten Realms Wiki. There we go. And we're just going to read this off real quick. We're not going to watch the video. Shush. The Underdark was a vast network of underground caverns and tunnels underneath the surface of Ibertoril. It was a home to a host of evil beings driven deep into the caverns at the end of the Age of Demons. The surface area of Toril, the name those who lived in the Underdark gave the surface Upper Dark, the first 3 miles below the surface. It was here where the surface dwellers and those in the Underdark most often met. Located 3 to 10 miles below the surface, this layer was where most of the Underdark cities were located, and then we have the Lower Dark. 10 miles or more below the surface, the Lower Dark was where even those who knew the Underdark were loath to go. Now, my setting, that we're going to be basing all of our creation in, my setting is Khazarok. The Underdark in Khazarok is sort of a spilling over of all the infernal planes. It has your typical upper, middle, and lower dark where you've got your drow and stuff like that. But what's happened is in the lower dark, very old ancient creatures from the far realms that wandered into this area of reality in their own versions of reality, as Khazarok is a merging of realities, not just planes, but actual different alternate timelines and universes and realities all merged together. So, the lower dark, there are many old creatures waking up, like massive titanic monstrosities that have started waking up and started crawling slowly up and making their territory and making their way. So the Underdark in my world has sort of brought itself together. You have Dwerger, you have Drow, and you have Svirfneblin, and you have various other races that are down there, all working together in order just to survive. They build their own cities. They've created a sort of melting pot culture. Still very matron controlled, although the Dwerger are are pretty against that, being that most Dwergar are male. Um, However, with the Drow being one of the strongest races, especially spellcasting wise, and having the only god who or goddess who directly interacts and intervenes in their society through divine casting, although the Duergar do have divine casters, you don't actually see their gods so much as Lilith does legitimately just come down and go, "Hey, I made your bitch into a half spider." No, I won't be doing that, Anchovy. I'm good. We're gonna create something that I've always thought would be an interesting spell. So there is a feature from Ranger 5e, which I really like. And this, where is it? It's Divine Sense, I believe. Paladins have it too, but the Rangers have a version that I like. Primeval Awareness. You use your action and expend one ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you. For 1 minute per level of the spell slot you expend, you can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within 1 mile of you, within up to 6 miles if you are in your favored terrain. Aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. This feature doesn't reveal the creature's location or number. No, I would not, Anchovy. So, I want to go along that line, but something a little bit more focused. So, the spell that I want to create, we're going to call Primeval Light. Spell type, we're going to I'm going to look up the Grimoire real quick. Resources, Grimoire, we have Dancing Lights is Evocation. So these types of spells are Evocation. We're going to do Evocation. And we're going to do, for right now, we're going to do a first level Evocation. And what this spell is going to be, casting time, 1 action, range, 300 feet. It is going to have verbal, somatic, and material components. It is going to use a small clump of what do we want to say here? A small clump of, I was thinking mud or something along those lines. But it is sort of supposed to be a small pinch, a pinch. No, it isn't a pinch of sulfur. A pinch of sulfur is used for something else. Clump of wet sulfur. Here we go. Small clump. We'll go with a small clump. We'll call it a small clump. Boop. If I can get this properly put in there. And the duration is going to be 1 hour. So, the way this is going to work is we're going to take the Primeval Awareness feature. Boop, boop. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. Primeval Awareness. Awareness. And we're going to pop this into our thing here just so we can read it. But the caster chooses a direction and releases a glowing globule of light, which moves in that direction at 60 feet around up to the range of the spell. If the light comes into contact with a surface or creature, it remains attached to that creature, that surface or creature, giving off light. Caster's Resurrection releases a glowing globule of light, giving off light. The orb of the globe of light appears to be some viscous liquid and gives off bright light in a 60-foot radius and dim light out another 60 feet. Additionally, no, we're good. And then, additionally, any creature which comes within the light of the globule gives off a faint aura based on its creature type. Aberrations glow dimly pink, celestials dimly blue, dragons dimly yeah, we're gonna go with like a red. No, that'd be demons. Based on their type. Actually, any creature which comes within the light of the globule, which is an aberration, celestial, dragon, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead, when any creature which comes within the light of the globule is an aberration, celestial, dragon, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead, a small portion of the globule flies off and attaches to them. It attaches to them, glowing with bright light out to 5 feet, and bright light out 5 feet, and dim light out an additional 5 feet. Have you seen? No, I haven't. Fuzzy, but I imagine they're a pretty fuzzy guy. So, this is the spell that we've made, but we're going to switch it up a little bit. Instead of Aberration, Celestial, Dragon, Elemental, Fey, we're going to do Aberration. We're going to take out Celestial and Dragon. Elemental, Fiend, Undead, or a native of the Underdark, such as Drow, Durgar, or Svirfneblin. A small portion of the globule flies off of and attaches to them, glowing with bright light out 5 feet and dim light out an additional 5 feet. So this essentially allows you to fire off a projectile in a direction, which glows, showing you everything, and then blop, 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 blop. And we're going to call this the hashtag Down Under Dark prompt. Next, we're going to create. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry to say, but I think it's your stream in particular that's messing me up. So I tried a couple others in the meantime. Well, I'm not sure what will be going on with my stream. I haven't dropped any new frames. Everything is stable on my end. Like I don't even go above 10% usage of anything. So I don't know what it would be on my end. It might be because whatever. Like I said, before I started streaming, when I started streaming, Twitch had some issues loading up a bunch of streams. And as I watched the thing come to fruition, I noticed that a lot of bigger streams seemed to stabilize, but the smaller streams didn't so much. So my guess is that whatever Twitch's band-aid was for it, they focused it around viewers and around the viewer count, meaning that because I don't have a lot of people watching, there are going to be people who have trouble running my stream. So I don't think it's me. I think it's probably a Twitch thing. If you're not having issues, with other streams right now, but you are having issues with this stream, I appreciate it. You don't have to say sorry. I appreciate you telling me. But there is nothing on my end that would suggest that I'm having any sort of serious or even remote issue with the stream going up. So it's probably Twitch and whatever they did or are doing to fix and bandage the problem that they're having just doesn't affect my stream as well. It runs now, and most people who watch will be able to see it, but occasionally you'll get people, unfortunately, like you, Geo, who can't. Um, and I guess you probably didn't get any of that because I'm probably still lagging for you. Um, so I'm going to type nothing on my end to suggest that I'm having issues. Probably Twitch. Whatever bandage they use to fix their streaming service probably isn't as focused on larger audiences and thus not as effective. For my stream. Boop. Letter E is now playing for honor. You guys can't see that because it's covered up. Haha. So, we have the Down Under Dark prompt done. Moving on, we're going to bop, bop, bop. Hashtag gardeners. Gardener's dream. We're going to click another snippet. We're going to find the item card. Nope, not item card page. Can we just do we have just like a singular item? Boop. Um Hold on now. Why? What is bringing an item card in? Control Y, Control Y, Control Y, Control Y, Control Y, Control Y. We'll go ahead and click item card. Insert. Oh, it's probably a style thing to be honest. Ah, there we go. We're gonna take out the div wide and this div. And we're gonna take out the credit for the image. Image source. Gardener's Dream prompt. We're going to come up here. We have Gardener's Dream. They can manipulate plants. Create a magic item that can manipulate plants. So, item name. What kind of manipulation of plants do we want to do? What's something unique to... something uniquely interesting? Ooh! How about this? Bag of seed exchange. Item tags and attunement needed. Uncommon. Item? I don't... Oh, excuse me. I don't know why we have a div class for centered here. We're going to take that out. Description of the item. Here we go. A small, simple burlap bag with a circle around it, depicting a circle of seeds. A circle of seeds stitched around the top. Burlap. We're trying to think of a burlap pouch. We'll go with pouch. This pouch can carry any number of seeds up to 500. This pouch can carry up to 500 pounds of seeds. Any seed put within it. Bag of extreme seeding. The pouch can carry up to 500 pounds of seeds. Any seeds put within become magically enchanted. When become magically enchanted, extreme seeds. When planted, extreme seeds grow in 8 days' time. Grow within a week's time to their fruit / food bearing stage, becoming ripe and edible. Extreme seeds. Bag of extreme seeding. We're going to actually create 2 items here. Producing ripe and edible fruits, vegetables. I don't know how to spell vegetables off the top of my head. Why am I having trouble spelling vegetables? Oh, I'm not having trouble spelling vegetables. I'm just being an idiot. Vegetables. And others. This pouch can carry up to 500 pounds of fruit or vegetable seeds, keeping them from rotting or decaying. Rotting, decaying, or growing. Any seed put within become magically enchanted extreme seeds. When planted, extreme seeds grow within a week's time to their fruit / food, to their full maturation, producing ripe and edible fruits, vegetables, and others. These fruits, vegetables, and others are seedless and much larger than and healthier than their mundane counterparts, growing up to 3 times as large if left in the ground. And there's a seedless and can grow much larger than their mundane counterparts. For every week after maturing, which the plant remains in the ground, it doubles in size up to 2, 4, 8 times its original size. The nutritional value of extreme fruits and veggies is also double that normal fruit or veggie. Um, what am I trying to think of? There's also double that of a normal fruit or veggie. Extreme fruits and veggies is also double that of a normal fruit or veggie. Again, this value doubles for every week the fruit or veggie is left in ground, up to 16 times the nutritional value. If any fruit bearing trees grown by these seeds begin to rot and decay away after bearing one load. Plants grown from these seeds begin to rot and decay after if they are left in the ground for more than 4 weeks. Yeah, 2 times, 4 times. So 1, and then double that, and then double that to 2, and then double that to 8. So for 5 weeks or more. Fully decaying away after 5 weeks. Fully decaying away. For 5 weeks. Boop. Fully decaying away after the 6th week. This includes trees grown. Um. All right. Trees grown from seeds placed inside this pouch do not pouch. Do not grow more than 20 feet tall or 5 feet wide. There we go. That just keeps you from having some really ridiculously large seeds. All right. And next we have the bag of seed exchange. Carry up to 50 fruit or vegetable seeds, keeping them from running or decaying. Circle seeds stitch around the top. Small simple burlap pouch with circle of seeds stitched around the top, around the bottom. This bag can carry, not bag of extreme seeding, bag of seed exchange. This bag can carry up to 500 pounds of seeds. 50 seeds. Any seeds put within up to 500 pounds of seeds. When reaching inside to take out seeds, you may pull any number of mundane seed of any plant which you are which you have come into contact with before. Of mundane seed of any plant. Reaching inside to take out seeds. When reaching inside to take out seeds, you may pull any number of mundane seeds of any plant which you have come into contact with before. If there are not enough seeds of that type in the bag, it automatically transmutes other seeds into that seed. Of that seed, there are enough seeds of that kind in the bag, it automatically transmutes other seeds into that kind of seed. Alright. And next, we have one last thing to do today, and that is do the most dangerous game prompt. As mentioned, we are going to make a Beholder Hunter. Most dangerous game. Write about a monster that excels in the hunt of something dangerous. And we are going to go ahead and grab the monster stat block. Monster block. Boop. Insert that there. The monster name is going to be Beholder Hunter. It's going to be a medium humanoid. Alignment. Any good. Its AC is not going to be that great. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pop open D&D 5e. We're just going to pop open the standard Beholder. D&D 5e Beholder. Beholder. I kind of thought we would have these already. But large aberration, lawful evil, armor class. I'm going to go ahead and use this as my anti-magic cone. The Beholder's central eye creates an anti-magic, as in the anti-magic field spell. Creates an area of anti-magic in a 150-foot cone. At the start of each of its turns, the Beholder decides which way the cone faces and whether the cone is active. The area works against the Beholder's own eye rays. Melee weapon attack plus 5 to hit, reach 5 feet, 1 target hit, 14, 4d6 piercing damage. So choose 3 of the following magical eye rays at random. Reroll duplicates, choosing 1 to 3 targets you can see within 120 feet of it. So it's ironic, because what this is it is moved up to 30 feet in any direction. The beholder can also exert fine control on objects with this ray, such as manipulating a simple tool or opening a door or container. Petrification ray. So the beholder can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. The beholder's central eye creates an area of anti-magic, as in the anti-magic field spell. Here's what I'm thinking. There's a really easy way to make the beholder useless against a creature. This is going to be a very, very weak creature. So they have a 2-hit modifier of +5. Because they have a +5 proficiency bonus. I would say they probably would have a +7, possibly, because it's a bite, which is a natural weapon, which is considered finessable by default. So let's assume that somebody decides to use that +7. We want a creature. I want it to have an 18 AC. 18. Cloak. Uh. Cloak of Indiscretion. And I'm stealing this item, not this item, but the concept of this item, plus shield. But I'm stealing this concept from something else. Actually, it doesn't even need a great AC because of what we're about to do. 14, Cloak of Indiscretion, plus... Actually, we're going to make it 15. 16, because I am going to give them a 4 dex mod. They're going to have an 18 dex. So, plus shield. Cloak of Indiscretion plus shield. Hit points. We are going to have... In this beholder, do these things have actions? Bite. They do not have a multi-attack, which is funny. Alright. So, hit points. These creatures are not going to have much hit points. In fact, they're not even going to be that great of a creature. This is the best part about these creatures. So, so let's open our CR chart real quick. D&D, resources, generators and charts, CR chart. We have it open over here. I'm going to go ahead and close it out over here. We don't actually have it open over here. Whatever. We are going to make these... I'm going to make these really, really weak. I want to make them a CR3 creature. CR3, 101 to 115 hit points on average. And they are a medium creature, which means pull open our calc. Boop. They need 101 hit points. Delete. Back. 101 hit points. And they have 4.5 plus, we'll go ahead and give them 1. So 101 divided by 5.5 equals 18.36. So we're going to go ahead and give them 19 times 5.5 gives them 104.5. So they're going to have, boop, 105, 19d8 plus 19. So they're going to have a con mod of 1. Give them a 13 con. And they're going to have a movement speed of 40 feet. Medium, humanoid, any good. They have a strength mod of, they're going to have 11. I just want to make these so blatantly not a great creature. An int mod of 16. Gives them 3. A wisdom mod of 12. Go with, yeah, 12. Some 1, and we'll go with a charisma mod of 8. Gives them -1. We'll go with 9 even for that. Saving throws. We're gonna go with what is the kind of the scariest thing that a beholder has? What do we think? Charm Ray, not so much. Paralyzing Ray is pretty scary, but won't be for them. Target can repeat the saving throughout the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. Fear Ray, the targeted creature must succeed on a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw or be frightened. So Wisdom, Dexterity, Constitution, Strength. Wisdom, Dexterity, Dexterity, Dexterity. So Dexterity seems to be the biggest thing that they have. So we're going to do Dexterity as our primary save. So they're going to have Dex +6. And they're going to have Wisdom as well. We'll give them a Wisdom of +3. Skills, Acrobatics +6. Perception +4, 3. Damage vulnerabilities, none. Damage resistances, none. We're just going to take out all these. Boop. Senses, dark vision, 120, 60 feet. Passive perception of 13. Languages, common, deep speech, and one other. Challenge and XP. Well, we'll figure out what the challenge is, but it's not going to be more than like 3 or so. Actions: multi-attack. The Beholder Hunter. We're going to call them the Eye Stalker. Eye Stalker. Yeah! That's cool, because Beholders are just giant eye stalk bundles. Eye Stalker. May make 2 attacks with its Cleaver. Then we're going to give it a Cleaver attack. The Cleaver is going to be a melee weapon attack. It is going to use attack bonus to hit. It is going to use their dexterity. I guess they probably wouldn't use cleavers. They would use saber. Their attack. Change it from cleaver to saber. Melee weapon attack. Reach, range, 5 feet. 1 target hit. It's going to deal. How much damage does the saber deal? Saber 5e. I think it's like 1d8. Yeah, 1d8 slashing. Alright. So, damage 1d8 plus 4 slashing damage. And general ability description. They don't have any special abilities here. So, now we're going to move on to boop, 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 boop. Hashtag traits. Tratus. Typos. And we're going to do indiscretion. Eye Stalker wears an item which the Eye Stalker wears a cloak which draws the eye. In any creature within 60 feet of the Eye Stalker must focus its vision on the Eye Stalker and has disadvantage on attacks against other creatures. In order to look away, a creature may use its action to resist the effects, to force itself to look away on a DC. What is their charisma? No, not their charisma. We'll go with the int because it's a crafted item. DC 13 wisdom saving throw. If they do so, in order to look away, a creature may use its action to force to DC 13 wisdom save. If they do so, I may make attacks on other targets without disadvantage. They must make this save in order to look away, a creature may use make. We're just gonna go with make. In order to look away, a creature may attempt a DC 13 wisdom saving throw at the end of their turn. If they do so, they may look away and make attacks on other targets without disadvantage for their next turn. However, they must make the save again at the end of their turn. At the end of their turn. Alright, so that's step 1. Cloak of Indiscretion. Cloak of Indiscretion. The next step of this creature is the crown, or we'll go with the piercing veil. The Eye Stalker also wears a thin, full body suit. This suit gives them immunity to piercing damage. They may use their reaction. Use the reaction in order. Oh, actually, yeah. We'll just make this a reaction. Boop. Instead of boop. Doing what we're doing now. So ba da 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 da. Boop. Reaction. Alright, what we're going to have to do, because it's clearly causing problems, we're going to have to boop. And then instead of putting a column break here, we're going to have to put a page break. we are going to put here another thing. Which we're going to describe in a little bit, the eye stalk. So, piercing veil. The put a period at the end. Boop. Eye stalkers carry with them a thin sheet of magical fabric. This fabric is created and enchanted in such a way as to negate piercing damage. As a reaction, when an eye stalker would take piercing damage, they may instead reduce that damage to 0. So the idea here is like bull hunters, right? So it is I am the eye stalker. I have come out here to slay your foul beast. Ah! They've got this cloak and they've got this fabric rag that they're waving around and their saber in one hand. And they've got a shield. They've got their shield with their cloak, with their fabric. They've got a cloak on that forces them to see him. You must watch me, beholder! See me! As they hold their saber up to his face, and they slash at it, and it forces it to look at them, which negates all of their beams, because their beams can't target things in their own anti-magic zone. And their bite attack, if they do manage to land it, which, they get advantage, they can only attack that creature effectively. If they do manage to land it, they can use the reaction to go, ha! But actually, whoosh, you've dealt no damage to me. Da, 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 da. Alright, and then the Eye Stalk. The Eye Stalkers specialize in hunting beholders and have found a way to take control of the eye stalks of slain beholders. Roll 1d10 for this. For the eye stalker. The eye stalkers specialize in hunting beholders and have found a way to take control of the eye stalks of slain beholders. As an action, roll 1d10. Reroll duplicates, choosing 1 to 3 targets it can see within 120 feet. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. As an action, roll 1d10. As an action, choose one target which you can see within 120 feet. Roll 1d10 to determine the effect on the eye beam chart given. On the eye stalk chart given. Alright, so now we're going to create a new chart. This chart, very simple, very easy. Boop, 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 boop. Table. Bam. It's going to be D10. It's going to be effect. Alright, so first we have 1 charm ray, 2 is the paralyzing ray, 3 is the Fear Ray. Take control of the eye stalks of slain beholders. Though their strength is greatly diminished. Fear Ray, ba 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 ba. Slowing Ray. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 10. We're going to go with 5 is the Innervation Ray. 6 is the Telekinetic Ray. 7 is the Sleep Ray. Petrification Ray. Disintegration. And Death Ray. Alright, so then we're going to take all of these things. Boop. We're going to copy paste them in here. And then we're going to slowly weaken them. Da, 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 da. What would happen if I did that? Never mind. Telekinetic Ray. Sleep Ray. Petrification Ray. Has my music stopped? It sounds like my music has stopped. Hold on, guys. Ah, my music has stopped. Did I get the Petrification Ray in? No. No, I haven't yet. Disintegration Ray. And Death Ray. Alright, so moving back up to the very top. So target creature, we're going to change this to target creature must succeed. Must succeed on, yeah, we'll use on a DC 13 wisdom saving throw, or be charmed by the Eye Stalker for 1 minute. You got target creature, target season is there for 1 minute. Or until the Eye Stalker harms the creature. Target must succeed on a DC 13 con save. DC 13 whiz save. Con save will be paralyzed for 1 paralyzed until the end of the Eye Stalkers, until the start the Eye Stalkers, until the end of their turn. Until the end of their turn. They don't really need to make the save because they are just going to end it. The targeted creature target must succeed on a DC 16 whiz save or be frightened for 1 minute. Target can repeat its save, ending this effect on itself on a success. Slowing Ray. Target must succeed on a DC 13. Oh, 13. Dex save. On a failed save, target's speed is halved. For their next turn. The creature can't take reactions, and it can take either an action or a bonus action on its turn, not both. The creature can repeat the saving throw. You don't need this anymore. In addition, the creature can't take reactions. Yeah, there we go. Until the end of their next turn. Alright. Again, target, innovation rate. Target must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw, con save. We're going to go down to, what is the name? We're going to go with 3d8, which is 4.5 times 3, 14, 13. So he's taking 13 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a success. For 1. Telekinetic Ray. Target creature must DC 13 strength save, or the Eye Stalker moves it up to 30 feet in any direction. It is restrained by the race telekinetic. It is restrained, and it is restrained until the start of the Eye Stalker's next turn, or until the Eye Stalker is incapacitated. If the target is an object weighing 300 pounds or less that isn't being worn or carried, it is moved up to 30 feet in any direction. If I control on objects with this ray, such as manipulating a simple tool, he cannot do this. Oops. He's not that talented with it. And we're gonna move this down to. No, we're gonna leave it at 300. Sleep Ray. The target creature must succeed on a DC 13 whiz save, or fall asleep and remain unconscious until the end of their next turn. Target awakens if it takes damage or another creature takes an action to wake it. This ray has no effect on constructs or undead. Petrification Ray. Target must make a DC 13 Dexterity saving throw. On a fail, Dex save. On a fail, the creature needs to turn to stone and is restrained. Let's repeat the save at the end of its next turn. On a success, the effect ends. On a failure, the creature is petrified until freed by the Greater Restoration spell or other magic. She's petrified until... Yeah, we're just going to leave petrification the same way. Disintegration Ray. Target creature must succeed on a DC 13 Dex save or take... We're going to cut this in half. 5d8 calc 4.5 times 5. Boop. 22. Force damage. If this damage reduces the creature to 0 hit points, its body becomes a pile of fine gray dust. If the target is a larger, smaller, non-magical object, or creation of magical force, it is disintegrated without a saving throw. Creature of magic force, this ray disintegrates a 10-foot cube of it. We're going to go with 5-foot cube of it. Just reduce it a little bit. Death Ray. Target must succeed on DC 13. Dexterity saving, Dex save, or take... Go to 6d10 this time. Because it is a fucking 5 times 5 times 6 is 33. Necrotic damage. Target dies if the ray reduces it to 0 hit points. It is the Death Ray. And we're going to go back up here. Eye Stalker specializes in hunting beholders. And I found a way to take control of the eye stalks of slain beholders, so their strength is diminished. Their beam's strength is diminished. Roll 1d10 to determine the effect on the eye stalk chart given. You can see within 120 feet. Eye Stalker may make 2 attacks with its saber, and, if possible, use its Eye Stalk. And we're going to give the Eye Stalk a recharge. 5/6. In both of these situations where it switches to... Oh. And up here with the telekinetic ray, there is an object weighing 300 pounds or less that isn't being worn or carried. It is moved up to 30 feet in any direction. There we go. So that is officially all of the things that we are creating today. So let's go back over what we've done today. We have design and decisions. Design and decisions. The weekly page, I'm going to have to work on filling out this first page up here. But in week 2, we reviewed the Poison Manual rules by Sona Player, which were really cool, really fun. I would love to play the Sorceress version, Sorcerer Origin, for that rulebook in a campaign at some point. We reviewed the Ordling race, again, very cool, very creative. I felt like the Hill Giant might be a little bit better than the others, but then I think I might be overvaluing the bite attack as well, as it's essentially just a free mundane weapon. excuse me. Um, Empress Corona Orstet, the monster by the user Lord Makaroth. Again, it's a cool idea, and I encourage people to do that kind of stuff to create their characters as monsters or NPCs to be used in games by DMs. Um, but at the same time, it was very clearly a player character, and that it was a bard and it was designed to work with other characters, but they tried to make it in such a way that it could play as a boss monster, which isn't as interesting or as exciting. It'd be much better if they focused around the bardic intent of the race, I believe. So it's not something that I would suggest using as a boss or a major monster in one of your games, unless you are going to design it for a very high level campaign, very high magic, where you would have access to multiple monsters for it to work with. And then we looked at the Quagsire race by the user Lucas Pucus 6, which was a fun little race. I love the use of the Pokemon moves and names and stuff like that. Um, we went on break, we came back, we did our prompts. We did 3 prompts this week, which we did. The Down Under Dark, where we created the spell Primeval Light, which functions. It fires off a globule of light which travels in a direction 60 feet around up to the range of the spell. And then when it comes into contact with a surface or creature, it remains attached to that surface or creature, giving off light. The globe of light appears to be some viscous liquid. It gives off bright light in a 60-foot radius, dim light out another 60 feet, and if creatures come within the light of the globule that are aberrations, elementals, fiends, undead, or a native of the Underdark such as Drow, Durgar, Sphearfniblin, then a small portion of the globule flies off and attaches to them, glowing with bright light out 5 feet, and dim light out an additional 5 feet. Essentially, sort of like a flare. And you can fire that down a long tunnel or path, and you can see if there are creatures hiding in the shadows that get caught by the light. It'll go boop, and then they'll glow, so they can't hide as well. That might not be a good level for that spell, but I feel like it's just the light that gives you a little bit of spotting capability. And then we had the Gardener's Dream prompt, where we would create a magic item that can manipulate plants. I decided to create 2 that didn't just manipulate plants, but manipulated the seeds of them. The first one is a bag of extreme seeding, which when you put seeds in there, I should probably have in this bag of seed exchange the same sentence: any plant which you have come into contact with before. Any seeds stored within this bag remain perfectly healthy, not rotting, decaying, or putting down roots. So the idea is that both of these bags, the bag of extreme seeding and the bag of seed exchange, can store seeds in them and keep them safe. But when you pull out seeds from the bag of extreme seeding, they are extreme seeds, which grow much bigger plants much faster, that are very, very nutritious, but have a time limit on them. You can't just leave them in the ground forever and they'll just keep growing. Eventually, you'll have to take them out and eat them. The idea here is that, if you guys are going to be stuck somewhere for a few weeks and you can't really harvest, you don't really have access to food, you can plant a few of these crops and it would grow very rapidly. Or perhaps a kingdom which functions using these primarily, where they harvest the seeds from much larger crop fields. They harvest the plants for seeds, not so much the actual functions, replanting the fields to an exact size, and then distributing extreme seeds, which they actually plant and grow in towns that they then use to feed their population over a period of time. Bag of Seed Exchange is a much simpler item, which uh, allows you to put in seeds, store them safely, and then take out seeds. But you don't have to take out the seeds that you put in. So say you put in 10 pumpkin seeds, you can then reach in and pull out 10 watermelon seeds, as long as it is a mundane seed with which you have come into contact of a plant which you have come into contact with before. That does mean that you could pull out plants like herbal seeds for herbal plants and stuff like that, but there are magical plants and stuff like that the DM might rule that you cannot. Finally, we did the hashtag most dangerous game prompt, where we write about a monster that excels in the hunt of something dangerous, creating the Eye Stalker, a good creature, medium humanoid creature that excels in hunting down specifically beholders. The idea is that they have a cloak of indiscretion, which forces the beholder to watch them and stare at them, therefore putting them in their anti-magic zone so that all their eye beams are ineffective against them. They have 40 feet of movement, so they can move in and out of the eye beam, and the idea of this creature is it stays within range of it stays within the vision of the beholder. It's like, ha! Watch me, look at me, you can't touch me. And he fights within the beholder's vision, making him essentially a singular creature that is not that strong, but is otherwise dangerous to beholders because of his reaction using another magical item that he has to completely negate piercing damage, the only other form of damage the beholder can deal without using its eye stalk. Challenge and XP wise, let's take a look at our challenge rating chart here. They have a 16 AC, 105 hit points, which gives them a CR of 3 defensively, 4 defensively, and then an extra 25% to their hit points because they have an immunity, an effective immunity. So 105 times 0.225 plus 105 gives them 131 health, actually. An effective 131 health, which makes them a CR5 creature. So they are CR5 defensively. And offensively, they can only put out... Let's say that they roll on their eye stock chart and they get really lucky and put out a death ray every round. 33 damage per round. At max, they are a CR5 offensive. So we're going to say, because they're not likely to get that every single time, we'll assume that they roll it once, they get it once. They roll their next highest one once, which is, I believe, the disintegration rate, which is 22. And then they do 1d4. We need to put the Saber's average damage in here, I've just noticed. These are the things that you run into. Boop. Melee weapon attack, plus 6 to hit. Average of 4.5. Hold on. 4.5 plus 4 is average of 9 damage around. 9 damage per saber. So, okay, so they average 18 damage per round from each of their saber attacks. And then, from their saber attacks, then they average, assuming that they roll their damage on every single one of these, assume that they roll, there's a 30% chance they get 33, 22, and 13. 33 plus 22 plus 13 divided by 3 gives them a 23 damage output, plus their 16 from their 18 from their saber is a damage output of 41 per round, giving them about a CR6. So they are about a CR6, CR5 creature. I'm going to go ahead and put them as a CR5 creature. People might disagree on them, but challenge 5 and XP for this creature is D&D, resources, generators, and charts. Is this the right one? Yeah, I'll have to rename that. 1800 experience. 1800 XP. There we go. So that is our creatures. That is it. So we're going to go ahead and publish this. Create a version. Copy this. Close. And we're going to go to our Discord, which you guys can see here. Boop. The Awesome Squad Discord. We're going to go to the Dungeons and Decisions stream. Week 2 GM Binder. Bam. Contains the... Hold on. Boop, boop, boop. Primeval Light spell. Bag of Extreme Seeding. Bag of Seed Exchange. And this Eye Stalker monster. Boop. So there you guys go. That is going to be available on the Discord. If you guys have not already, thank you very much for coming out. You guys are awesome. Stay awesome. Have an awesome day. Remember, If you haven't already, up above we have the follow button, which has an amazing little follow thing. So if you get it in before I go, and you haven't already, we can see that play off. Down below we have a sub button. Subs are not necessary, but they are greatly appreciated. Like everybody who does this kind of stuff, I would love to make it a living and be able to just do this and spend every bit of free time on my life focusing on creating D&D content and streaming and stuff like that. So if you can afford it and you like what you saw here, sub below. Donate below as well if you can't afford a monthly sub. There are currently no emotes, but there will be. I have some ideas. And finally, the Discord link below. Go ahead and join me there. If you enjoy this stream, you can submit to the prompts and review like GeoStellar did here, which we did not actually go over this idea. I am sorry about that, GeoStellar, but we will go over that next week. I've already marked that. You can also talk with other people such as GeoStellar, HK, Juggernaut, Prof, all sorts of various. I say all sorts. Those are the only people there right now. But hey, join us. There are more. But yeah, and you can talk with me, moi, because I enjoy it and I hang out there sometimes. There's a looking for group channel, so you can chat with people looking for groups, suggestions, bot commands, blah 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 blah. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do there. So go join the Discord, link down below. I will see you guys around. Remember, you are all awesome. Stay awesome out there. Have an awesome day, and thank you for coming out. My name is Force, signing off.